Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello. I keep saying I'm going to fix this camera angle, and then I never do. Because I forget. Well, how are you all doing? And now it's like, I think I did, let me move this back over here. See, the problem is, I do put it in a different spot each time, and it's different on the screen. There we go. That is much better. How are you doing? I had a heck of a time today getting home from work, and they just threw everyone off the trains because I work in downtown and do a lot of work on the train. So it's a really long commute, but I don't mind because I do a lot of LP work. I do mind getting thrown out of the train in the rain with no explanation, and then Wayne having to go all the way to Denver to get me. That was fun. Not. They could have at least let us know. And there were all kinds of people stranded. Anyway, you all don't want to hear about that, but I needed to get that off my chest. So I pretty much just walked in the door, but got all the delegate allocations, at least for last month's total, out. So that was good. And started on some minutes I got behind on with the computer crash I had. Let's do the YouTuber stuff. Hold on, I need to delete a few things here. And by the way, I did hear from the Denver DA about the innocence, the conviction review on the Hal Hebert case. And let me read you this email. And I did write him a letter. I haven't sent it yet. I'm sending him copies of these emails. but this was from DA Beth McCann, and she said, "Thanks for your inquiry. The review of the Hebert case is still pending." Well, at least I got something more from her than I got from the Corey White Innocence Project. "There was some delay in further testing." I wonder what kind of testing. That's really interesting, because I didn't think there was any evidence still to be tested, but I guess we'll find out. She said, "Hopefully a decision will be issued soon." So I'll probably do a separate update on this case just with those with that additional information. It'll be like 2 minutes, but in case anyone's just doing a search for that case and they want to know what's going on. And it took Wayne, by the way, like an hour to come get me. So my commute already, I'm commuting about 4 hours a day, believe it or not. But I work the whole time. So it really doesn't bother me, because I'd rather commute than on a train than drive. So I'm doing 2 hours of work in the morning on LP stuff and then 2 hours home. But because of all of this, I didn't get home till nearly 8, and I get off work at 4:30. Okay, that was something. Wayne had to come get me where we were just stranded. Good thing this bus station, because a lot of the ones that stop are little train stations, or little tiny ones with no shelter. At least this was a major station that, because it was raining, at least had shelter. But let's do the history thing. I was already bound and determined to do it. And Wayne's making me some consolation bacon upstairs, so that's nice. That's funny. All right, so what we were going to be looking at today is LP under attack from conservatives. So, JJ, I did nothing to get tossed off. Everybody got tossed off with no explanation. That's what was crazy. And as we're sitting there at I-25 and Broadway, like 4 other trains came and threw everybody off. And then when I looked up on Twitter later as to why they the train stopped, it was weather. It rained. That's all. Like, you would think there was a blizzard. No, it rained. Oh, I'm going to rant a little while longer on the trains. Why not? So went and looked up what other people are saying. And some of the people on the, at RideRTD on Twitter, somebody had said, "Cool, thanks for the non-info. Are you guys hiring? I would love a job that's subsidized by hardworking people wherein I could do less than the bare minimum with benefits, I'm sure." And then that same person said, 7 hours. "I spent 7 hours getting to and from work today, riding or waiting for a train to show up. I know you people couldn't care less about us." And then goes on. And then someone else said, "It was awesome getting stranded at Alameda for 45 minutes and then being kicked off in the rain at Broadway with no explanation." That was me as well. Got kicked off at Broadway with no explanation. It'd be funny. I want to look at this guy's picture. I wonder if he was on the same train as me. Well, I don't recognize him. He might have been. There were 4 trains that got dumped off. So anyway, that was fun. Let's go back now then to LP News, now that I thought I got it all off my chest, but basically I guess I didn't. Oh, no, I still got more to say. So before we got thrown off at the station before, in between stations, the train just stopped. And they're like, "Oh, sorry for the unexpected delay," they call it, but it's just stopping. "We anticipate getting started again within 30 minutes. And there was like packed. I was lucky enough to have the edge of a seat, but a lot of other people were standing. Crazy pants. But I did a lot of work. I got all of the delegate allocations out, and I see Sam. Sam, you got mine yesterday, because I started on the alphabet yesterday, but I finished up Wyoming and then started on the August 30th minutes. Okay, LP under attack by conservatives. Let's see. Alrighty, this is by Ed Crane. Yes, the Presidential Convention booklet. Ooh, I don't know if I've seen that booklet. contained a letter from me. Let's see if we have this booklet. Let's go to Elpedia, because I know we had some convention booklets. Of course, we could have it, and it's just not uploaded or scanned yet, but let's see. So, this would have been the 1975 convention. Well, let me pull this on the screen so you guys can see it. Let's take the comment screen off first. So here's the national. Oh, Bunchy is really upset too. Look, Bunchy's like, I can outrun the Denver trains. I can outrun them. Okay. So let's see what we got going on here for the 1975 Libertarian National Convention. Look at that calligraphy. Wow, that's almost unreadable. So let's see if we have minutes. Only a 2-page summary was reported, and the recordings were to serve as the official transcript. That's such a no-no under Roberts. So there's some recollections. I know Steve Twinward. Oh, here's the book. So let's see. So this was apparently from Stu Engel from Pennsylvania, as you can see on the screen. But let's see if we can find what Ed Crane is talking about. He said there was an introductory letter. Okay, page 2. And look how thin this paper was in the scan. You could see it's bleeding through as to what was underneath it. But here's the letter that Ed Crane was talking about. So let's read this before we do the LP News article. Dear Libertarian, welcome to the 1975 National Convention of the Libertarian Party. For the past 5 months, LP members in New York have been working to make this convention, the presidential convention, one you'll never forget. LP conventions are always memorable events, but the spirit surrounding this one, combined with the exhaustive pre-convention planning, promises to make it the standard for many years to come. If this is your first LP convention, well, this will only have been the fourth one. Wait, so there was one in 72, 73, 70. So this would have been the fourth one. If this is your first LP convention, prepare yourself for an exciting, intellectually stimulating week. It was a whole week back then. Having attended conventions and conferences of all shapes and sizes in the past, I think the thing most distinctive about LP gatherings is the obvious respect delegates have for one another. I wonder if he was bullshitting, because that's not the case now. Sure, the debates got heated at times, but when libertarians argue on the convention floor, they listen. What is he talking about? No, they don't. And I don't believe things were any different in 75. They listen to what their opponent is saying. Libertarian debate is a process of rational discourse, and it's exhilarating. Misspelled, right? That's misspelled, isn't it? Or am I forgetting how exhilarating is spelled? That looks wrong. Is that right? Let's look up how to spell exhilarating. Maybe that is right. That looks wrong. No, he spelled it right, but that looks wrong. Wait a minute. No, it is wrong. There's an A. It's AR, right? No? Yeah, it's AR. It's X Hill ARA, and he put ERA. I knew something looked weird about that, so it is misspelled. Exhilarating phenomena. Okay, that's spelled right, but that looks weird too. To witness. This week marks, in my view, that time at which history will record the Libertarian Party came of age, the size of this gathering, our seriousness of purpose, and the positive spirit with which we undertake the tasks of the convention will signal to the world that libertarians are ready to reverse the tide of statism in America. From this point forward, the Libertarian Party is going to experience an acceleration and growth that will make it the most talked about political movement of the century. I look forward to participating with you. 1 second, let's go back here and put the comments back up, because I'm going to disagree with the comment. There's a comment, the 70s LP was pretty cohesive. Don't know where you got that from. Maybe maybe at 75 it was, but 1980 was the Coctopus scandal. So it really was not very cohesive, at least in the late 70s. Maybe 75 it was. The Radical Caucus got started around this time, wrote a very, I don't want to call it a divisive letter, but a very challenging factional letter to David Nolan. We've read that letter on the show. Yeah, maybe up through McBride it was semi-cohesive, but this probably would have been the last year because the late 70s were not that cohesive. It was very, very factional. And I think 80 is when Rothbard left. So between 72 and 74, you had the big battle between the anarchists and the minarchists, so that wasn't necessarily the most cohesive. Now, they did come together in 74 to do the Dallas Accord, so I don't know. I think I disagree with that statement. I think we've always been quite a fractious bunch. Okay, so let's continue now. Whether it was CBS, National Review, the New York Times, or any of the multitude of media reports on the convention, one thing rang out clearly. America has a new political party that deserves serious consideration. It's been a long, hard struggle, but we've overcome our second major obstacle on the road to reestablishing a libertarian society. I hope I get some good clips out of this show. I might have in that last little rant because everyone just thinks I'm fixated on Matt Walsh because it's usually those shows that have good 1 minute or under clips because that's what YouTube Shorts requires, 1 minute or under. I've posted like 10 Matt Walsh clips in a row and I don't want people to think that's all I talk about. It's just the stuff I talk about is history usually and it isn't conducive to a 1 minute soundbite. But go check out my shorts. They're mostly just Matt Walsh rants, but they do pretty well. The first was to actually create the Libertarian Party, for which David Nolan and a handful of others deserve the major share of the credit. The second obstacle was acceptance by the media, without which we had no hope of reaching those millions of Americans who, in my view, need little more than hear out our ideas to accept them. The opportunity to reverse the trends towards statism is now ours, and with it, the responsibility. We've earned that opportunity, and we have every right to be very proud of our accomplishment. Now the real job is before us. Now we must mount a serious national political effort that the lisp gets me sometimes, that must withstand attacks from those interest groups and rival political forces that will increasingly feel threatened by our presence. Woo! In his outstanding acceptance speech, the new LP presidential candidate, Roger McBride, warned that we must be prepared to deal in the near future with America's anti-libertarian establishment. Conservative columnist Kevin Phillips proved McBride a prophet when, shortly after the convention, he wrote a bitter attack on the LP. We're going to want to read that bitter attack, so let me circle that. The attack, however, was as illogical as it was vehement. Phillips actually did us a service by underlining, much as William Rusher did in his book, The Making of a New Majority Party, once again, the fundamental antagonism between conservatism and libertarianism. Listen up, people. There is a fundamental antagonism. Libertarians are not just Republicans who smoke weed. We are fundamentally, at our core, different. And we're different at the grounding level. Our fundamental presuppositions are different, and that makes all the difference in the world. Taking New York City as a case to prove his point that libertarianism is too optimistic, Phillips calls for Caesarism. His word, honest, it says. Wow. And cites the need for order, authority, and restraint above all. Sounds like Matt Walsh, doesn't it? And then there's some German here. Jawohl, mein Führer? Mein Führer? I can't pronounce that. For all the talk of Yahtzees and whatever. I can't read German. Of course, optimism would be out of character for conservatives, like getting along would be for libertarians. As Phillips points out, conservatives believe the statement of Thomas Hobbes that life is naturally solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. And that, in Phillips' words, the answer lies in the power of sword and state. God, that sounds like Matt Walsh. From Phillips' instinctively statist and reactionary point of view, the manifest problems caused by big government in New York City can only be solved by creating an even more powerful government. The power of the sword and all that. Says conservative Phillips, take away New York's drug laws, pornography statutes, school attendance laws, welfare apparatus, and all the other things libertarianism would scrap, and the city would degenerate into a bloody chaos. It would be anarchy, I tell you. Well, he didn't say the anarchy part. I just got a bit carried away. Actually, the reverse is true. Well, I hope the reverse of the anarchy part wasn't true, but take away those things, and with them will go the chaos that now exists. Rid New York of those tyrannical and counterproductive governmental activities, and you'd witness a rapid, classic Austrian school economic recovery that would correct the forced malinvestment of human and financial resources. Crime would drop precipitously. Businesses would return and once again prosper. There are rational, realistic grounds for optimism. But let us leave Mr. Phillips with his sword and state. I, for one, am delighted to be an optimistic libertarian. Did I mean to take the text off the screen? What text? Yeah, I'm reading the LP News. So that wasn't the letter anymore. That letter was over with. So, yes, I did Cam Anarchy. All right, let's continue. Where'd I leave off? And one of our greatest causes for optimism is our presidential ticket of Roger McBride and David Bergland. In them, we have two of the most articulate libertarians in the land, carrying our banner. Both are longtime activists. Well, okay, when you've only been formed since 72 and we're now in 75, well, I mean, yes, there was a libertarian movement before the LP, but when you're starting to talk in LP News about activists, I don't know, I'm thinking of LP activists, and you can't be really long-term when you've only been in existence for 3 years. Anyway, sorry, nitpicking. Both are committed to high-level, hard-hitting, full-time campaign. I urge each of you to join Roger and Dave in waging what promises to be the most exciting third-party campaign in the history of this country, whether it's letters to the editor, speeches before civic organizations, planning rallies, or just plain financial support. Your help can and will make a difference. We have a presidential ticket that will so outshine anything put forth by the Republicans and Democrats that it is imperative that we take the fullest advantage of these favorable circumstances. There isn't room in this column to give all the credit that is due to the convention committee in New York for the superlative job they did. The long hours they put in on the event paid off in the smooth functioning of just about everything. Congratulations to Charles Blood, Convention Manager. That's a new title. Mark Travis, Convention Coordinator. Andrea Millen, Troubleshooter. Bob Clare, Personnel. John Daswell, Events Producer. Linda Osborne, Blood, Personal Accommodations. Ray Strong, Budget and Finance. Gene Pierce, Entertainment Casting. Branyan Sting, Scheduler. Dolores Grande, Treasurer. David Grant, Media. Mike Nichols, Exhibits Coordinator. Carolyn Keeland, Art Director. Sandy Feld, Production. And Laura Wertheimer. It got a little smeared there. Media. Okay. We're not reading every column in this month because we probably won't get to it all. So this is probably all we're going to do tonight because we had the train rant. But let me see. Have I ever read Rothbard's Leninist Strategy on the show? Don't think so. What's the article called? Rothbard wrote so much. It was crazy. And I guess that's probably it for today. I'm making sure I don't have anything else, and I'm going to see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, I'm going for the consolation bacon upstairs. Is that the furnace going off? It might be. I'm not going to bother getting up and turning it off because we're almost done. Oh, and I did get a new patron. Thank you. I believe it's Jesse. I need to write you back and thank you. You'll also get a handwritten thank you card as long as you gave me your address. But speaking of patrons, I didn't do this at the beginning of the show. If you enjoyed the very varied type of content I'm doing lately, please support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. And remember, my $25 a month patrons, now you can sponsor from anywhere from $1 up, and I appreciate it all. My $25 a month patrons, remember, you do get a free t-shirt, and hardly anyone claims those. Joy just claimed hers. We do have the Already Against the Next Mandate shirts back in the store. I took them down because I was hoping we'd never see that crap again, but they are back up on the store, so maybe you want to become a $25 a month patron and get your free t-shirt. And my top tier patrons do get to advertise or let me know what Liberty Project or product that they may have, and they get free advertising on the show. So Miguel said the Rothbard thing that he was asking me about is toward a libertarian something. I want some something. I want some libertarian something. It was supposed to be a secret document where Rothbard is very Leninist. I don't think I've ever even heard about it. The thing about Rothbard is he was so mercenary. Now, I love me some Rothbard, and I think his, is it For a New Liberty? And the Libertarian Manifesto thing he wrote. Very good. I don't agree with him on everything. I particularly don't agree with his view on children, but Rothbard was brilliant. But something about Rothbard, which is enough to get everyone mad, is how mercenary he was. When he first started out, he was very, very friendly to the left, and that got a lot of people ass mad. And then when that didn't work out, then he went to the fusionism, the redneck fusionism, and got very, very friendly to the right. Rothbard was willing to try a lot of strategies, and most of them were bad. I didn't care for his alliance with the left, and I certainly didn't care for his alliance with the right, but that's just how Rothbard was, willing to try nearly anything. But he was a hardcore libertarian, and for that I appreciate him. I have not yet updated the patrons on the closing screen. Jesse, I'll get you on there, and if any of you guys want to make me happier for my train miss-up today, I really, again, would appreciate your patronage at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. Anyone watching this other than live, throw me a super thanks. It really, really does help. All right, everyone. And yes, Jessica, I agree with you. Anatomy of the State, it's either going to white pill you or black pill you. It's one or the other. Well, first it's going to red pill you, then it's going to black or white pill you. Too many pills. Okay, have a good night. And not sure if I'm going to be doing a show tomorrow. Maybe I will. But Saturday, I'm probably not going to be doing a live show. We'll probably be doing one of my pre-recorded ones with some props and stuff. If y'all remember the one I did where I was the pretend commie, I'm not doing another pretend commie one, but something a little bit more theatrical. At least that's what I'm planning. I'm waiting to see if I get any of the props that I need in the mail. Okay, everyone, you have an awesome evening. Mi guapas de libertad.
take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they want to